I wanted to go over why, as a fighting game player, you shouldn't rely only on gimmicks in the Street Fighter 6 to rank up, and I'll explain how it stunts your growth as a player. And on the flip side of that, I will also discuss how to beat gimmicks if you're on the receiving end. Now, I know this video is specifically for Street Fighter 6, and I will be using Street Fighter 6 examples and footage, but this applies to literally any fighting game ever created. Now, I know that everyone already has an image in their heads when I talk about gimmicks and Street Fighter 6. Close your eyes. What do you see? So if you're using gimmicks in Street Fighter 6, you need to stop it. And if you're losing matches to gimmicks, you need to stop it. So when you rely solely on gimmicks, and I mean only gimmicks, to get wins and rank up in this game, you'll hit a wall pretty freaking hard. Especially when you start facing good players who know how to deal with them. And if they punish you every single time for using them, as a player, you need to adapt and find another strategy. But if gimmicks are all you know, and if you don't know what else your character can do up close, then you can't do anything else really. You can't change up your gameplay, and you will ultimately lose to the player who knows how to deal with your character. And I'm not talking about every single Honda and Blanca player out there, that actually know how to play those characters and know not to use and abuse those gimmicks because they will get punished for it. I'm talking about people who solely rely on gimmicks and do nothing else. All that time you're wasting, you aren't becoming a better player. And to get the higher ranks, gold and platinum especially, you need to become a better with all the game's mechanics, and you need to understand your character inside and out, both defensively and offensively. You need to have good neutral. You need to know your character's normals ranges for whiff punishes. You need to react to drive impacts, have good defense, know when to contest up close pressure, know when to block, know when to parry, know how to adapt to certain playstyles, and know how to counter every character on the roster. Now that is a fraction of what you have to focus on literally in every match, in every round in Street Fighter 6. And it's hard, even for great players. It's a lot. It's a lot to be thinking about all the time. So I get why people just coast with gimmicks to have fun and get to gold, and then they find it harder to do anything, because you don't have to think about so much. But if your goal is to get better at the game and to get into higher ranks like platinum, it definitely will not work in your favor, because everything every other player has been working on, neutral with punishes, countering certain characters, countering certain gimmicks, then you won't have that experience. So in gold, personally, I found a lot of players who relied on Blanca balls and command grabs and even headbutt with Honda, and I anti-aired them with Cammy's cannon spike every single time. I'm sure I could have tried to OD spiral arrow it and get a combo, but the cannon spike is just really good to tell your opponent no. And if you do it consistently, they'll get pretty scared. So one Blanca I fought, and I wish I had kept the footage of it, but he quit on me mid-match because his bullcrap was not working. He was doing Blanca balls, he kept jumping around like the floor was lava, and he tried to throw the command grabs randomly, like one after the other, which I would constantly anti-air Cammy's cannon spike. So if they understood the character, they could have done close Blanca ball to bait my anti-air and then punish me for it. But if you solely rely on gimmicks, it'll work on players who are not that great, not that used to the game maybe, or the characters. But when you start facing people like me who know, then you'll be in big trouble. But let's say, theoretically speaking, that you play one of those characters and someone isn't punishing you for those moves. Well, continue to do it, of course. If you know the character well, there's no harm in doing it, because if they adapt, then you can adapt back and change your playstyle as well. If your character has good tools that people are getting hit by, well, that's part of fighting games, you continue to do it. Like for Cammy specifically, if people anti-hair my hooligan combination, I will stop using it. But if they don't anti-hair it, if they get hit by the overhead, then trust me, I will be so trigger happy about it. If they drive and pack my spin knuckle, then I will stop doing it. Or just do it when they're throwing a projectile. Gimmicks can only take you so far. You still need a good knowledge of the game and your character and pretty much every other character on the roster to really become a great player and rank up. Now the most important part, how do you beat gimmicks? I have seen some replays that have seriously hurt me emotionally, of people constantly being hit by Blanca balls, headbutts, and doing nothing, when their characters have the tools to actually do something about it. Now you can say, well, maybe they don't know what their character can do, or how to anti-air, or that they can even anti-air these moves, right? Or they're not knowledgeable enough in fighting games to go in practice mode and figure what works for their characters. Well, here's a really easy trick for anyone. Try it out during a match. What have you got to lose? If you continue to get hit by the same stuff, letting the opponent get away with it, you're going to lose anyway. So might as well figure out and try out what works. If it works, that's awesome. If it doesn't, try something else. The person more likely to lose in a fighting game match is the one that is unable to adapt. It's the one that is unable to change their playstyle. Like, there is one specific replay I saw a Luke against a Blanca, right? And Luke has a DP, Dragon Punch, and moves like Blanca Ball, and his command grabs, and Honda's Headbutt, and Honda's Butt Smash thing can all be anti-aired and DP'd. So really annoying to watch this player get away with gimmicks when the character the opponent was playing had the tools to be able to punish him, you know? And if the gimmick character starts using the OD versions, then do the same. They'll burn themselves out, and even if you do too, you can still anti-air the moves. So either way, you keep the advantage. Unless, of course, you burn yourself out before they do, then of course, you know, you have to keep an eye out on your drive gauge and block the OD instead of trying to beat it with your own OD anti-air. Following this exact principle, once I got to gold, made me win every single match against Hondas and Blancas that were relying solely on gimmicks. If your character doesn't have a good DP or good anti-air move, and you need to try something else, drive impact, parry, jumping over. Though I can't think of one character that doesn't have a good tool to deal with that stuff, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. And the most important part is if they continue to use these moves, even if you punish them every single time, continue to do it. It doesn't matter. If they don't want to be conditioned, that's fine. Don't be conditioned either. Don't think that because you anti-air them 2 times, they'll stop doing it. If they continue doing it, you continue anti-airing them every single time. You will find these matches the most easy out of all of them. I really hope this helps someone. Obviously, this is more geared towards beginners, but I think Street Fighter 6 is a great game for beginners to learn, especially if you've been wanting to get into fighting games for a long time. But it does have a lot of depth and a lot of harder to master mechanics. But I think that one roadblock that every new player struggles against, it's gimmicks. So hopefully you learn something out of this. And as always, have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon.